Today we're gonna see 10 scenes that apparently ruined Star Wars for fans. I'm pretty sure there's a few of these that I can definitely comment on. So hang tight and take a look. By the way, the videos from Watch Mojo, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it if you're Star Wars nerds, but I'll leave the video in the description below if you want to check it out yourself. Let's go.
Far away from our list, let us know in the comments. Number 10, Lost the Will to Live. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
You're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow.
Death is a solemn occasion, particularly when it's related to childbirth. But the death of Padme Amidala had fans groaning instead of weeping. After her confrontation with Anakin, Padme is left heartbroken and ready to deliver her twins. However, her droid doctor informs Obi-Wan and company that while she's fine physically, she has lost the will to live. And she dies.
Medically, she's completely healthy. For reasons we can't explain,
Fuck off.
we are losing her.
She's dying.
We don't know why. She has lost the will to live.
Sure, people dying of a broken heart is medically possible, but it's hardly narratively satisfying, and it sounds more like poetic.
All right, low key though, this exact scene was such a pain in the ass. I remember when I first saw it, like I was a kid though at this time. Like I was pretty young when the prequels came out, so I wasn't too like shocked by it, but it just felt really cheap, right? So I think that's what he's saying. The narratively, it's just stupid, and it's like. They had this like beautiful. It's like they were trying to tie up loose ends, you know. They're like, oh crap, she has to die for this. So how are we gonna make her die? Well, Vader can't kill her. That might be too brutal. Because I feel like the prequels was like hinging on trying to be like kid friendly, but then also not kid friendly. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It definitely felt really cheap.
Poetic license. As it is, this felt to many fans like a half-baked way of killing Padme off without having Darth Vader be directly responsible.
He's lost the will to live? What, a degree in poetry? You sorry bunch of hippies! For God's sakes, don't give us the billions of dollars of medical equipment around us!
Number 9,
Right?
Rose saves Finn. Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Usually when one character saves another from certain death...
Okay, full disclosure, I have not watched any Star Wars after The Mandalorian and after, I guess, Last Jedi. Or sorry, The Rise of Skywalker. So... I'm literally boycotting Star Wars.
On board. Not so here.
Finn, it's too late. Don't do this.
No! I won't let them win!
With the Resistance cornered and the First Order firing death beams at their door, Finn is ready to make the ultimate sacrifice to crash his vehicle into the weapon to save the Resistance. Except Rose decides to crash her ship into his, stopping him from saving everyone. And then she kisses him. Sure, Luke ends up buying time for everyone
Hold on.
to escape, but Rose didn't know that would happen. Or that
True.
the First Order.
Yo, truth. Mojo's dropping truth bombs. Like that scene, I was like, oh my god, they wasted Finn, dude. Force Awakens, I was like, damn, they're gonna make Finn into a Jedi. That's sick. That's amazing. It's like at least there's like, you know, that would be like a story that people would like to follow. He's coming from the Stormtrooper side, not because he's black, guys. Relax, okay? But coming from the Stormtrooper side, he's, you know, it's like the whole. Stormtroopers are dark side and everybody else is like rebellion, but the Stormtrooper is going to try to become a Jedi and then fight against the Order. That would be amazing. That would be an awesome story. They should have done that, but they didn't, and they completely wasted Finn. Like, Jesus, god damn it. So, you know, I thought, like, I was like, you know what, at least they're giving him a proper send off. He's doing something heroic, damage that goddamn machine, and there was no fucking reason that Rose needed to do that. I know there was a lot of hate going towards Rose, but there was no reason. Rose, you are, oh my god, you are an enigma in the Star Wars world, and I really hope in real life, you know, I'm sure you're fine, but Jesus Christ, her character is so fucking annoying, man. Also, here's the kicker, right? If you roll it back, like, watch, if you go back to the scene where they're actually doing the shit. hold on. No. Can't you go back here? Look at this shit. Look at this shit. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of those massive walkers plus 1 AT-AT. Are you fucking kidding me? If they really thought this guy was a threat, they could have blown him out of the sky or out of the ground or whatever salt thing that they're going on. Like, really? And then they saw Rose come and hit him from the side. These guys are probably watching like, what is happening right now, you know?
Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
This is a crisis. The Senate must vote the Chancellor emergency powers. He can then approve the creation of an army.
But what senator would have the courage to propose such a radical amendment?
People don't like Jar Jar, that's no secret, but...
Yeah, that is an understatement of the goddamn century, but Jar Jar was super annoying. I remember watching this as a kid, and Jar Jar was definitely not my favorite bit. I didn't understand its comic relief. Some parts are funny, like when he was juggling the plasma grenades, that was pretty funny. But outside of that, like, you know, episode what was it, 2 and 3? I don't know. He was just a pain in the ass. But this scene wasn't that big for me, so we'll move on to the next one. But this one was just whatever. Like, but it does play into the whole like Darth Jar Jar situation. All right, let's move on.
Star Wars Episode 9: The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh god.
Rey has been a lightning rod of a character since her introduction.
Oh
but her final
God.
scene in the sequel trilogy had fans demanding their money back. On Tatooine, Rey lays the lightsabers of Luke and Leia to rest in the sand, while igniting her own lightsaber. Then an old woman asks her name.
There's been no one for so long. Who are you?
I'm Rey.
Rey who?
Rey responds with her first name, and then, after looking at Luke and Leia's Force ghosts, tells her,
Rey Skywalker.
a character that's already so divisive, inheriting the Skywalker legacy, and
It's so funny because Luke and Leia are like Force ghosts watching her. Like they're just probably like, good for you, girl. Good for you. You survived all this crazy shit. And then I bet you, she's like, Rey Skywalker. I bet you as soon as you said that, they're probably like, yo, what the, you can't do that shit, man. Like you're not a Skywalker. You're a Palpatine. You're like, you've been fighting us. Come on. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? This was a chance for you to turn your name around, you know? But no, you had to fucking, oh god, it's such a cop-out, man.
name had many fans outraged. Plus, it kind of goes against what Rey learned in the trilogy. That legacy doesn't need to define you.
Rey, some things are stronger than blood.
Number 6, Leia flies in space. Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. They fly now? They fly now.
They fly now! They fly now! They fly now!
People were about as amused with this development as that gag. After being blown out into space, Leia uses the Force to propel herself back to the ship, miraculously surviving being in vacuum.
Okay, though, I thought this scene was kind of badass, but it's really unfortunate because, like, oh man, they should have shown some parts of this maybe in Force Awakens or whatever. Like, I wasn't too pissed off at this. I thought, however, though, when the scene happened, because like Kylo was like on the on the trigger, just kind of like, he feels his mom's presence. It was actually kind of emotionally tense, to be honest. So this scene I kind of didn't mind when she got blew up. And I was like, okay, at least it's a fitting end. Carrie Fisher was like, would be fairly okay with this. But then they fucking revive her. She becomes this like literal space wizard. Like, are you fucking joking me? What is, oh god. I didn't mind it that much, but goddamn, it's like Star Wars has to stop bringing people back to life. And I feel like they did it just because she's a woman or something. But like, really, I mean, that was a pretty good send-off. She's a massive part of the story. Let her die in peace. God damn it, dude.
While The Last Jedi introduced several new Force abilities, this one had a lot of fans crying foul, if only because of how ridiculous it looked. Plenty compared Leia to Mary Poppins.
Perhaps it's a witch. Of course not. Witches have brooms.
As much as we've all
You're
looked
a
forward
wizard,
to Leia
Harry.
using the Force on screen, the effect was less supercalifragilisticexpialidocious and more quite atrocious. Number 5. Somehow Palpatine returned. Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker.
I have died before. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
Low-key, Palpatine was one of the best, like, movie villains in the past 30-40 years, okay? It's just like total badass, but why the fuck would they bring him back? I just don't understand. Like, a lot of movies nowadays, right? Forget Star Wars, a lot of movies nowadays are trying to redo stories that were done before. Dude, come up with something new. Like, people will still watch it. I know there's some basement-dwelling virgins that sit there and just like, it's not like the old Star Wars because it doesn't have the same people. But not all Star Wars fans are like that. People never watched Star Wars before for Palpatine, right? They watched the interaction. Like, do you know what I mean? And the worst part about it is all the new Star Wars, they make the same shit. Like, even you don't have to bring back Palpatine. You have the same fucking problems. Like, you blew up a big, even bigger Death Star, right? You used the canal to do it or whatever. Like, there are so many similarities, and it just ends up being cheap. I don't know. This was when they're like, somehow Palpatine survived. I'm like, really though? Really? Like, have you seen the explosion of the Death Star? You ain't surviving that, man. That's I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments below. Let me know in the comments below. You think Palpatine could have survived that shit, man? I don't know. I mean, I guess you could say if anybody had to, it would be Palpatine. But really, come on, guys. Lucasfilm, what the hell are you guys doing up there? What the fuck, man?
Number 4. Han's Name. Solo, a Star Wars story.
Okay, I'm not going to watch this point because I haven't seen Solo, and I'm not going to, and I don't give a shit. So I'm boycotting Star Wars after this stuff. I'm only going to catch like some of the good ones. And that's after people say that it's decent. People I trust to be decent Star Wars fans to say that it's, trustworthily good to watch. Okay, so let's skip this one. Let's go to the next one.
Sand, Star Wars Episode 2. Attack of the Clones.
This had to be here.
Awkward Star
This had
Wars
to be
dialogue,
here.
it doesn't get much more infamous than this speech by Anakin Skywalker. While romancing Padme on Naboo, Anakin abruptly comments on his hatred of sand when Padme brings up the beach.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
And while his assessment of sand isn't wrong, many
This sand thing was a euphemism for Hayden Christensen's acting in this entire trilogy, man. It's coarse and it gets everywhere. You're like, come on, less of this guy, please. More of Obi-Wan, please.
Number 2, Luke throws his lightsaber away. Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Luke has thrown away his lightsaber before, when the Emperor told him to kill Vader, so it's not the act itself that fans have a problem with.
I'll never turn to the dark side. You failed, Your Highness.
Look at that, man.
I'm a Jedi, like my father before me.
Seeing Rey hand Luke his old lightsaber at the end of The Force Awakens felt like a big moment. Then The Last Jedi picks up and he just tosses it over his shoulder. It feels like
Loki, it was pretty funny. In that scene, I remember watching it in theaters. It was like the first opening sequence, right? It was pretty funny, but deep down you knew, man. Like, you knew as a Star Wars fan, they were destroying what you thought was gonna happen. It was so good, so good, until the point, like, it wasn't so good, but it was, you know, it was Star Wars, right? So you're expecting great things, and then this happens, and you're like, oh god, where is this gonna lead to now? I don't understand. Like, when he threw that, I was like, this is not the Luke we knew. As soon as he threw that, I'm like, oh god, this is not the Luke we knew. And it's okay, like, it's okay if you make a different Luke, but when the character, like Mark Hamill himself, completely disagrees with the direction of the character that he was supposed to play, there's a red flag. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Some people think, I guess they think that their creativity trumps and stands above other people's, you know, professional opinions. Nah, whatever. Fuck those guys.
Phasma's death. Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. How do you waste Gwendolyn Christie this much?
There were so many good actors in this whole Star Wars, the new trilogy. Especially Gwendolyn. Like, how do you waste this talent? How do you waste it? Phasma also, I have a Phasma pop head. Like, I got it, I'm like, wow, she's gonna be badass, man. She's gonna be like Boba Fett. Like, you know, well, Boba Fett didn't do shit, but you know what I mean? Like, what they should have done with Boba Fett. But no, they did exactly what they did do with Boba Fett. And just killed her off in like 2 seconds. What is this shit?
Number 1. No! Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Darth Vader is one of cinema's most iconic villains. Revenge of the Sith sees the rise or descent of Anakin Skywalker into the identity. After being heavily burned, the modified Vader is awoken in a chilling scene reminiscent of Frankenstein. And how does this scene conclude when he's told he killed his wife in his rage? By Vader yelling, "No!" in a way many fans found goofy, undercutting the tension of the scene. The exclamation has become a meme, synonymous with over-the-top angst.
Okay, low-key, this one didn't do anything for me. Like, I know when it happened, I was like, okay. Like, I didn't feel anything. It felt okay, to be honest. So, like, this cannot be number 1. This cannot be number 1. I don't know. I don't know what I would put number 1. Probably the sand, it would be number 1. Or something from Jar Jar or something, you know what I mean? But not this one, man. This is not number 1. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Until next time, catch y'all later. Peace.